Oh, here we go. All right. Please state your name and your position.
My name is Lucas Lindsay. My position is children's pastor at the Church Cathedral of Praise.
All right, Pastor Lucas. First question. How did you get into leadership?
I started by volunteering in the church for a few years, which led to joining a ministry school in the church and being mentored under all the pastors, and then being offered a position once I graduated from that school in said church.
That's good. All right. Now, you don't have to go into extreme detail if you don't want to, but what were some of the challenges that you faced in your leadership?
Submitting to authority. One. Wait, ask the question one more time so I make sure I'm answering it right.
What are some of the challenges that you faced in your leadership? Anything that you had to struggle with?
Like in leadership or with my leadership? Are we talking about like people who are my leaders or just with me being a leader?
Just anything you had to deal with while you were leading.
Oh, gotcha. I would say just trying to learn or trying to get to know the people who you're leading and know how to lead them in a way that is what they need. Because sometimes not every way of leading works for everywhere, and you have to custom fit what you're doing to who you're around. So it's really hard to kind of get to know who you're around and then lead them accordingly.
That's good. What are some of the rewards that you get out of being a leader?
Just having, especially for me in particular, is just having kids come up to me and be excited about Jesus, or come back or tell me some random day, some lesson that they remember that I taught, or when they draw me pictures, just seeing your leadership working, basically.
That's good. Now, this is going to talk about other leaders. Can you tell me something a characteristic that you think every leader should have?
Willingness to work alongside other people. / humility, I guess.
All right. So, what do you think is one of the biggest challenging facing leaders today?
I'd say the biggest challenge is establishing yourself as a leader. A lot of people don't want more leaders today because they have bosses, they have people at school that go listen to teachers, all this stuff. A lot of people don't want another leader, but at the same time, you have to lead them while basically just being their friend. It's not like you can be like, well, I'm your spiritual authority. You have to do what I say. You have to establish respect for people and make them want to be led by you, basically.
All right. What's something like a behavior or a trait that you've seen derail leadership careers? Stuff that people couldn't get over.
Pride. Not willing to. I'm not sure if you just want short answers or long answers, but
hey, you talk as much as you want.
I'm just trying to help you out, man. I already know this stuff. But when I say pride, you can word it however you want when you write it down, but I'd say pride, and that some people think that they are, a spiritual authority and that people should listen to them, and they don't establish respect from other people before they try to lead them. People only follow people that they respect. It's like you're not going to go to the Grand Canyon or to the Amazon jungle and follow some tour guide who's never been there yourself. You have to know and trust the person that you're following before you're going to follow them. And a lot of leaders today are too prideful to get down and prove themselves to people. They want just automatic respect from everybody.
All right, so you're a children's pastor. How important is social networking to your ministry?
Oh, very. Even though there's not a lot of kids on Facebook, it's a very crucial way that we communicate with parents, especially parents who like don't actually go to the church. Because almost every parent's on Facebook. You can build excitement with kids when they're in the kids' church, but you can't build excitement with parents unless you're communicating with them outside of kids' church because they're not in there. So it's mainly for the parents, but it's very crucial.
That's good. All right, so what are a few resources, books, pastors they should listen to, seminars they should go to, something like that you would recommend for beginning leaders, or for someone to become a better leader? Sorry.
Like leaders or children's pastor?
Both.
Let's round it to leadership. Definitely John Maxwell. Yeah, definitely John Maxwell. You could write down anyone who's in the position that you're going into who's doing it successfully. Also, there's a man by the name of Chris Hodges, who is a pastor of Church of the Highlands in Alabama. I'd put, definitely Randall McCarty, Gary Taylor. Not sure if I'm saying these two fast for you to write them down.
Oh, I'm not writing it down. I'm recording it.
Oh, good. So that's basically it. Besides that, just find, depending on what role of leadership you're going into, find someone who's doing it right and listen to them. It's always the best way to learn how to lead in that area.
Okay, could you name somebody who made an impact on you as a leader? Someone who mentored you, maybe? Still there?
I am still here.
Okay. Like the how and the why. Why do you think they did it? How they did it?
Those people that I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, just, sit down, ask them, mainly just ask them how they do things. I would definitely recommend anybody from the Church of the Highlands Church, because a lot of times you'll go to people and they are successful, but sometimes they don't know what they're doing that's so successful, or they know parts of it. But the best way is just to go watch somebody do something and see what they're doing differently than you. So watch how they run their service. Don't ask them, what spiritual aspects of everything, but if you want to learn how to leadership, learn what they do spiritually, but also watch, their work schedule, how they discipline themselves, in the rest of their life, how they balance their leadership role as according to the rest of their life. If there's a difference, maybe their whole life is just being the leader in that area. Maybe they do that as just like a job. You got to find out how they cope with their position and see what areas of that work for you. But like I said, it's a lot of custom fitting. Not everything works everywhere. You've got to be able to find what parts to implement where you are, which is one of the hardest parts.
That's good. All right. Last two. Can you name somebody who made an impact on you as a leader? Like a mentor, someone you looked up to when you were not a leader that made you want to be a leader.
Definitely Daniel Fire, my youth pastor, which I'm sure you know well, but I'll go ahead and describe him. He was a man who, even though he was just a youth pastor of a relatively small youth group, not the smallest, but it wasn't huge, he conducted himself in a way that if he was thrown into, a 5,000 person youth group, he would still be able to handle it. Because he disciplined himself, he didn't just treat it like a job, he made it his life. He was organized, and he did what he did well, and he took pride in his work, and it wasn't just a job to him. It was more of an art and a passion.
That's good. He was my mentor as well for the videos.
I kind of do.
All right, last question. What's something that you do to ensure that you keep growing and developing as a leader?
Always, when you're reading the Bible or preparing a message or, just anything, listen to other people's opinions. When I first started, I thought that, reading, because I'm a pastor, I read the Bible a lot and I prepare messages, but, you look at biblical, I didn't want, because I was young and dumb, didn't want to read, biblical commentaries or whatever. I'm like, I want to hear what the Spirit's saying to me, which, is important. At the same time, it's important to learn from other people, find out what other people think about what you're seeing. You don't always see the whole picture, so it's really important that everything you do, you get other people's opinions on stuff. Whether it's a book, whether it's, it doesn't have to be the Bible, it could be a leadership book, it can be a situation. It's always good to have a friend who's outside of the situations of your life, an accountability partner that you can go to and be like, hey, this is what's going on. Do you think I'm handling this correctly? And it's always good to have somebody who's disconnected from your situation to look at your situation or to look at something that you're looking at so you can see what they see. It kind of broadens your view and helps you not to be biased towards something. For instance, when I was younger, I wasn't raised in a Pentecostal church. My family didn't believe in the baptism of the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues, etc. And when I read the Bible probably 6 times through before I actually became into the Pentecostal arena. And I never even noticed the scriptures that were for the baptism of the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues. Never even noticed them, read them. But mentally, I was just looking over them, not wanting to hear them, and I didn't even notice it. So it's always important to get other people's opinions to see things that you don't see, because we are not perfect.
That's good. Well, Pastor Lucas, that's all the questions I've got for you.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm glad to help, Andrew.